Welcome to this week's episode of Gout Gourmet. We're diving deep into a topic that, well, it touches so many of your lives. Whether you're managing gout yourself, or maybe you're caring for someone who is, or perhaps you're just curious about how diet can, powerfully impact health. You know that feeling, right? That mid-afternoon slump hits, energy just tanks, and suddenly the pantry, it feels like it's singing a siren song. Quick fixes, chips, cookies, whatever's easiest. But for anyone battling gout, this isn't just a simple craving. It's actually a really high-stakes moment. One wrong snack, just one, can trigger days, maybe even weeks, of excruciating pain. It just disrupts your entire life. And we really get that. We understand the genuine pain, the limitations it puts on your mobility, the sheer disruption gout causes. It pulls you away from activities you love, from work, from just living comfortably day to day. For far too long, the advice around gout and diet, it's been this confusing, really frustrating list of don'ts. Just don't eat this, don't eat that. It's left so many of you believing that snacking is completely off limits.
And that often leads to these super restrictive, kind of bland diets, immense frustration, feelings of social isolation, and honestly, it's heartbreaking. But often people just give up on managing it through diet altogether. But here's the aha moment we want to share today. What if strategic, even delicious snacking isn't the enemy at all? What if it's actually a cornerstone of successful gout management? Like a powerful tool that can be completely fear-free and, dare I say, even enjoyable. So that's exactly our mission for this deep dive. We are reclaiming snack time. We're going to cut through all that noise, bust some of those outdated myths, and give you a definitive list. Gout-friendly snacks that are not only safe, but can actively support your health goals. And maybe more importantly, we're diving deep into the why. The science behind each recommendation so you feel totally empowered, Never have to second-guess your choices again. Our promise to you is actionable tips, some surprising facts, and genuinely delicious ideas.
We want to empower every gout sufferer, every caring caregiver trying to support their loved ones, and anyone just looking to understand how to snack smart without triggering a flare. We really want to show you that a gout diet is anything but bland.
Yeah, and what's truly fascinating here is how the cutting-edge science has really transformed our understanding of snacking when it comes to gout. It's definitely not just about avoiding purines anymore. That was the old school thinking, right? We now have a much more nuanced picture. It reveals how strategic snacking can actually be a powerful, proactive tool in your management strategy, not just, playing defense all the time. We're moving beyond just avoidance to really embracing supportive nutrition.
That's a huge shift in perspective, isn't it? So, okay, before we jump into those specific delicious foods, and I'm excited to get to those, let's really unpack why. Why do timing and composition matter so much for people with gout? It's more than just what you eat, isn't it? And it seems like it's also about when and maybe how things are combined. Can you walk us through that foundational science?
Absolutely. So think of your body having this internal clock. We call it your circadian rhythm. And this natural biological clock, it directly influences how your body processes certain compounds like purines, which, are found in many foods, and crucially, how it manages your uric acid levels. Recent research has shown pretty clearly that eating patterns that align with this rhythm can significantly impact your inflammatory responses and your overall metabolic health. It's like a fundamental piece of the puzzle, basically dictating how efficiently your body handles metabolic waste products like uric acid.
Okay, so my body's kind of programmed to handle things differently at different times.
Exactly. And consider what often happens around, say, that notorious 3 p.m. mark, that afternoon energy crash. It isn't just you feeling a bit tired, it's actually a natural circadian dip. Physiologically, what's happening is your cortisol levels, that's a hormone involved in stress response and energy, they naturally drop around then. Now, without the right fuel, your body can actually enter a mild stress state. And this internal stress, well, it promotes inflammation throughout your system. For gout sufferers, this creates what you might call a perfect storm. You've got low energy, which often leads to poor, impulsive food choices, grabbing whatever's quick. And those choices can then trigger these inflammatory cascades. It's like a chain reaction of immune responses that significantly worsen joint pain and potentially impact your mobility for, hours or even days afterwards.
Wow. So that afternoon slump is actually a kind of physiological danger zone for someone with gout.
In a way, yes. But here's the good news, right? There's what we call a metabolic window. Research indicates that strategically consuming anti-inflammatory snacks during this vulnerable mid-afternoon period can genuinely help regulate your body's inflammatory response for the rest of the day. The key, though, is choosing foods that provide sustained energy. You want to avoid those dramatic blood sugar spikes.
Why is that so important for gout, the blood sugar part?
Because those sharp spikes, they can directly interfere with your body's ability to process uric acid efficiently. So it could potentially lead to increased levels, which is exactly what you want to avoid. And furthermore, let's talk about hydration and timing for uric acid elimination. Your kidneys, those amazing filters, they actually work hardest to eliminate uric acid during specific times of the day. Usually that peaks in the mid-afternoon. So by consuming proper snacks that include hydrating foods during these peak elimination hours, you can actively enhance your body's natural detox process. This is exactly why you'll notice many of the snacks we're going to recommend today include foods with a high water content. It's all about optimizing your body's natural functions.
That is a truly fascinating insight. So if I'm getting this right, it's not just what I eat, but when matters because my body is literally programmed to handle uric acid differently throughout the day. It's a massive shift in thinking.
Yeah.
Because, for so long, the advice was just avoid all high-purine foods, like a blanket statement. And it left so many people feeling incredibly restricted. But that advice, it's actually changed now, hasn't it? The science has really evolved here.
It absolutely has, and it's such a crucial shift for anyone managing gout. We now have a much more nuanced understanding of purine content. We're moving way beyond that outdated avoid all high purine foods approach. The new perspective acknowledges that, well, not all purines are created equal, and this understanding, it really opens up possibilities for a much more diverse and enjoyable diet, which, let's face it, is a major win for quality of life.
Okay, so what's the main difference then? What makes one purine different from another?
The crucial distinction now lies between plant-based purines and animal purines. Multiple rigorous studies now confirm that plant-based purines, the ones you find in foods like spinach, asparagus, or even some legumes like lentils, they do not increase gout risk in the same way that purines from animal sources do, things like red meat or certain types of seafood. This is a game changer. It means many vegetables and plant foods that were once sort of strictly forbidden, they're now considered safe and maybe even beneficial for most people with gout.
Wow. So spinach is okay. I always heard spinach was bad.
For most people, yes, in moderation. The mechanism is quite fascinating. Plant foods actually contain other compounds, things like fiber, antioxidants, that seem to enhance uric acid elimination, so they effectively offset their own purine content. This provides so much hope for a much more diverse, less restrictive diet. It allows for far more culinary freedom. So yeah, don't fear your spinach. It's just not the same as that steak when it comes to your gout risk.
That's fantastic news. What else helps?
Then there's the fiber factor. High-fiber foods play a really significant role in regulating uric acid levels. They do this in a couple of ways. Firstly, fiber acts as a prebiotic. That means it feeds the beneficial bacteria in your gut. These bacteria then produce something called short-chain fatty acids, which are known to improve uric acid excretion, getting it out of your body. Secondly, fiber slows down digestion, and that's important because it prevents a really rapid absorption of purines that could potentially overwhelm your system and cause a sudden spike in uric acid. So it's not just about what's in the food, but how it's processed in your body, and fiber really helps optimize that process.
Okay, and you mentioned processing. How does that fit in?
Right, this leads us directly to the fact that processing matters a lot. Fresh, whole foods are simply processed very differently by your body compared to their highly processed alternatives. Think about it. A handful of fresh, whole nuts gives you sustained energy, beneficial fats that can calm inflammation. But in contrast, some processed nut butters, they often come loaded with added sugars or unhealthy refined oils, and those can actually trigger inflammatory responses in your body, directly working against your gout management goals. This distinction is vital, and it helps explain why our snack list coming up places such a strong emphasis on whole, minimally processed options. It's about getting the most benefit from your food with the least potential for harm.
That's such a critical point about whole foods versus processed. Okay, so with all this incredible science as our foundation, what does this all mean for, your actual snack plate? Let's get into the good stuff. The truly delicious, scientifically backed ideas designed to keep you energized without triggering flares. This is where we really show you that a gout-friendly diet is anything but bland. We're talking real, enjoyable food that supports your health and helps you live a flare-free life.
Let's dive right in. First up on our list. 1. A bowl of fresh cherries, nature's anti-inflammatory powerhouse. These are remarkably low in purines. You're looking at maybe 7 to 17 milligrams per 100 grams, which is very low. They're best enjoyed mid-afternoon, right in that crucial metabolic window we talked about, or maybe post-workout for recovery. The optimal serving, about 10 to 12 cherries. That's roughly half a cup. Now, cherries aren't just a tasty fruit. They are a scientifically proven gout-fighting superfood. The key players are anthocyanins. These are the natural pigments giving cherries that vibrant, deep red color. These compounds work through multiple pathways to actively combat inflammation in your body. They actually inhibit the COX-2 enzyme, that's an enzyme producing inflammatory chemicals, the same target as many common anti-inflammatory meds. They also block something called NF-κB. Think of it as a key inflammatory signaling pathway, like a master switch inside your cells for inflammation. So blocking it effectively reduces the body's overall inflammatory response.
So they're actively working against the inflammation process.
Exactly. And the research on cherries is really compelling. There was a landmark study published in Arthritis and Rheumatism which found that regular cherry consumption reduced gout attack risk by a remarkable 35%. The magic number seems to hover around 10 to 12 cherries daily. That amount provides about 25 milligrams of those anthocyanins, which appears to be the threshold needed for those significant anti-inflammatory benefits. For maximum effect, we generally recommend choosing tart cherries when you can, as they tend to have a higher anthocyanin content. Fresh is always great, but frozen cherries hold on to most of their nutrients and are a fantastic year-round option. Just be really careful to avoid cherry juices with added sugars. Those can completely negate the benefits and might even trigger inflammation themselves. And here's a pro tip. If you can time your cherry snack about 2 to 3 hours before bed, it could provide optimal anti-inflammatory benefits while you sleep, supporting a more restful healing state. It's like having a tiny red army fighting inflammation while you rest.
Who knew your snack could moonlight as medicine? That is incredible. What's next on the list?
2. Low-fat Greek yogurt with berries, the protein probiotic combo. This snack is also very low in purines, only about 9 to 10 milligrams per 100 grams. It's an excellent choice for a morning snack, or maybe pre-workout. An optimal serving is around 6 ounces of yogurt paired with about half a cup of mixed berries. This combination delivers a really powerful 1-2 punch for gout management. First, you get high-quality protein that's generally easy on your kidneys. It doesn't stress your system like some animal meat proteins can. Plus, you get beneficial probiotics, those live, good bacteria. These are crucial for supporting your gut microbiome, which in turn supports healthy uric acid metabolism. And then the berries, of course, add more of those anthocyanins we just talked about, plus fiber, all while keeping the overall purine load minimal.
Okay, that gut-gout connection.
Yeah.
That's something we're hearing more and more about, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's an emerging and truly fascinating area of research. Studies are increasingly showing that people with gout often have what's called a disrupted gut microbiome, basically, an imbalance in their gut bacteria. The beneficial bacteria found in high-quality Greek yogurt can help restore this balance. And that, in turn, can significantly improve your body's ability to process and effectively eliminate uric acid. So when you're choosing your yogurt, look for varieties with at least 5 different live cultures listed. That helps ensure you're getting a good dose of those beneficial microbes. And crucially, avoid yogurts with added sugars. Sugar itself can trigger inflammatory responses and work against your goals. Sweeten it naturally with fresh or frozen berries instead. The protein content is also important for stable blood sugar, so aim for at least, say, 15 grams of protein per serving if you can.
That gut-gout link is definitely key. So for someone just starting out, what's the one thing they should really look for on that Greek yogurt label, besides the sugar?
Beyond the protein, look specifically for the phrase contains live and active cultures. Then, if you can, check the ingredient list for specific strains like lactobacillus and bifidobacterium. Often, the higher the number of distinct strains listed, the better.
Got it. Live cultures, low sugar, high protein. Makes sense. Okay, what's number 3?
3. A handful of almonds or walnuts. Strategic healthy fats. These nuts are generally low in purines. Almonds, for example, contain about 37 milligrams per 100 grams. They're ideal for snacking between meals, especially if you feel your blood sugar dipping or maybe before a workout. An optimal serving size is generally considered 1 ounce. That translates to about 23 almonds or maybe 14 walnut halves. Nuts offer this powerful trifecta for gout management. First, healthy monounsaturated fats that actively help reduce inflammation. Second, magnesium, which is a mineral that supports crucial kidney function and over 300 enzyme reactions in your body, including those involved in uric acid metabolism. And third, fiber, which helps regulate uric acid absorption in your digestive system. Walnuts deserve a special mention here because they have an exceptionally high omega-3 fatty acid content, surprisingly high actually, rivaling what you find in many types of fish, and those omega-3s provide powerful anti-inflammatory benefits.
So just a small handful makes a difference.
Yes, that 1 ounce serving size isn't just arbitrary. It's based on research showing that this amount provides maximum anti-inflammatory benefits without necessarily contributing to weight gain. And maintaining a healthy weight is really crucial. As we know, excess weight is a significant risk factor for gout. This portion usually gives you around 160 to 190 calories and a satisfying 6 grams of protein. For timing, you might consider having nuts maybe 30 to 60 minutes before your main meals. This strategy can help stabilize your blood sugar levels and might even help reduce the overall size of your next meal. The healthy fats in nuts slow digestion, preventing those rapid blood sugar spikes that can interfere with uric acid processing. It makes them a truly strategic choice.
So why did the gout sufferer bring almonds to the office party? Because they heard it was a natural way to avoid networking with inflammatory foods. Okay, I promise our recipes are much better than my jokes. What's next?
All right. Number 4. Hard-boiled eggs, the perfect protein package. Eggs are remarkably low in purines. Levels range from basically 0 up to maybe 11 milligrams per 100 grams, making them virtually purine-free. They are suitable really any time of day, a quick morning snack, post-workout fuel, or just a convenient grab-and-go option. 1 to 2 whole eggs makes a good, optimal serving. Eggs provide complete, high-quality protein. Your body needs that for essential tissue repair and a robust immune system, all without adding to your purine. They're also one of the few natural food sources of vitamin D, which plays a crucial role in immune regulation and can help reduce inflammatory responses in your joints. Eggs are so low in purines, they're kind of the Zen masters of the protein world, right? Calm, peaceful, won't cause any drama in your joint.
I like that. But what about the cholesterol? People still worry about that with eggs.
That's a great point, and it's worth addressing that old cholesterol myth. Despite decades of, frankly, outdated advice, recent research confirms that the dietary cholesterol from eggs doesn't significantly impact blood cholesterol levels for most healthy individuals. In fact, the lecithin found in egg yolks might actually help your body process fats more efficiently. And hard-boiled eggs are particularly ideal because they are incredibly portable, perfectly proportioned, and require no added fats for preparation. You can just boil up a batch at the beginning of the week for convenient snacks. They store really well in the fridge for up to a week.
It really is amazing how sometimes the simplest foods are the smartest choices and so easy to prep. Okay, number 5.
5. Veggie 6 with hummus. The Fiber-Protein Alliance. This combination have a low to moderate purine level overall. It mainly comes from the chickpeas in the hummus, which range from about 47 to 109 milligrams per 100 grams. This is an excellent choice for an afternoon energy boost. An optimal serving is about 1 cup of mixed vegetables with maybe 2 to 3 tablespoons of hummus. This snack really exemplifies smart gout nutrition. You get high-fiber vegetables that powerfully support kidney function and provide crucial hydration. And you pair that with plant-based protein from the hummus, which doesn't put stress on your system like some animal proteins can. The veggies offer hydration, while the hummus provides sustained energy through its protein and complex carbs.
What kind of veggies are best here? It doesn't matter.
Aim for a rainbow of colors. That helps maximize nutrient density and antioxidant variety. Carrots are rich in beta-carotene. Bell peppers are packed with vitamin C, which is known to help with uric acid elimination, and cucumbers add refreshing hydration. A small word of caution. While generally healthy, probably best to avoid very large quantities of celery. It does contain moderate purines, and in extreme amounts, it could potentially be problematic for some really sensitive individuals. Moderation is key. The hummus itself, especially if it's made from traditional ingredients like chickpeas, tahini, lemon juice, and garlic, provides multiple gout-fighting compounds. Tahini offers beneficial fats and minerals. Lemon juice provides vital vitamin C and citric acid, which might help prevent uric acid crystal formation. And garlic is, of course, renowned for its anti-inflammatory properties.
What do you call a vegetable stick that's perfect for gout? A celery britty snack? Okay, I'll stop with the puns now, really. But no, seriously, it's so easy to grab these and avoid less healthy options, isn't it?
It really is. Okay, number 6. 6. Apple slices with natural peanut butter. Balanced energy release. Apples themselves are very low in purines, only about 14 milligrams per 100 grams. This classic combination is perfect as pre-workout fuel or a mid-afternoon pick-me-up. An optimal serving is usually 1 medium apple with 1 to 2 tablespoons of natural peanut butter. This snack provides a really nice balance. You get quick-acting natural sugars from the apple for immediate energy, followed by sustained energy from the peanut butter's protein and healthy fats. Apples are also rich in quercetin, which is a powerful flavonoid known for its anti-inflammatory properties. Some research suggests it might significantly help reduce the frequency of gout flares.
You mentioned natural peanut butter. Why is that distinction important?
It's crucial. When choosing your peanut butter, you really want to select only natural varieties. Avoid those big commercial brands that often have added sugars, unhealthy oils like hydrogenated oils, and unnecessary preservatives. Natural peanut butter should ideally contain just peanuts, maybe a touch of salt. It's perfectly normal for the oils to separate. That's a good sign, actually. Just stir it well before using and store it in the refrigerator after opening. Also, different apple varieties offer varying levels of antioxidants. Granny Smith apples, for instance, tend to have some of the highest polyphenol content, while Red Delicious are a good source of that quercetin we mentioned. Choosing organic apples, when possible, can also help minimize exposure to pesticides.
Good tips. Natural peanut butter. Got it. What's number 7?
7. Whole grain crackers with low-fat cheese. Complex carbs meet calcium. Whole grains themselves are low in purines, typically ranging from 60 to 96 milligrams per 100 grams. This combination makes an excellent evening snack, maybe, or a pre-dinner bite to tide you over. An optimal serving is about 5 to 6 whole grain crackers with about 1 ounce of low-fat cheese. This pairing provides sustained energy through complex carbohydrates while delivering essential calcium and high-quality protein. The whole grains offer valuable B vitamins, which are crucial for proper metabolism, and the casein protein in cheese is absorbed slowly, making it quite ideal for a satiating evening snack that won't likely disrupt your sleep or blood sugar levels too much.
What should people look for when choosing whole grain crackers? The labels can be confusing.
Yeah, they can be. Look for options with at least 3 grams of fiber per serving and minimal added sugars. Critically, the very first ingredient listed on the package should always be a whole grain like whole brown rice, quinoa, or whole wheat rather than enriched flour. Popular gout-friendly cracker options often highlight these whole grains right on the front. Regarding cheese, it's generally best to choose low-fat varieties to minimize your intake of saturated fats, as those can sometimes promote inflammation. Good options include things like part-skim mozzarella, reduced fat cheddar, or even cottage cheese. These provide beneficial protein and calcium without an excessive amount of calories or potentially inflammatory fats.
Makes sense. Keeping the fats in check. All right, number 8.
8. Steamed edamame. Plant-based protein perfection. Edamame, which are young soybeans, contain a moderate level of purines, ranging from about 63 to 95 milligrams per 100 grams. This is an excellent choice for a pre-dinner appetizer or maybe an afternoon snack. An optimal serving is about half a cup of shelled edamame. Now, despite its moderate purine content, edamame gets a green light for gout management because it is a complete plant protein. And crucially, research shows that it does not increase gout risk in the same way animal proteins do. These young soybeans provide all the essential amino acids your body needs, along with beneficial compounds like isoflavones, which have known anti-inflammatory effects.
So the whole soy controversy, that's mostly resolved now for gout.
Largely, yes. For years, there was conflicting information about soy and gout, which created a lot of confusion. However, more recent and robust research has really clarified this. Plant-based purines, including those found in whole soy products like edamame, do not seem to increase uric acid levels in the same manner as animal purines do. The fiber and the phytonutrients naturally present in edamame actually appear to work synergistically to support healthy uric acid metabolism, making it a safe and beneficial choice for most people. Preparation is simple. Just steam fresh or frozen edamame for maybe 5 to 8 minutes until tender. You can season it with a pinch of sea salt, maybe some garlic powder, or a splash of low-sodium soy sauce. It's probably best to avoid heavily salted or highly processed versions, as excess sodium can sometimes promote fluid retention.
That's a huge relief for anyone who loves edamame but was worried about the purine content. It's really great to see these older myths being dispelled by newer science. Okay, nearly there. Number 9.
9. Avocado on rice cake. Healthy fats with complex carbs. Avocado itself is very low in purines, only about 19 milligrams per 100 grams. This snack is super versatile. You can enjoy it any time, really. Breakfast, pre-workout, afternoon pick-me-up. An optimal serving is about half a medium avocado spread on 1 or 2 brown rice cakes. Avocados are true nutritional powerhouses. They're packed with those healthy monounsaturated fats, excellent for reducing inflammation throughout the body. They also provide abundant fiber, supporting digestive health and stable blood sugar levels. Furthermore, avocados are rich in potassium, a crucial electrolyte that aids kidney function, and also folate, which contributes to overall health. The rice cakes provide quick, easily digestible energy without the potential inflammatory effect that some refined wheat products might have.
You mentioned potassium. Why is that particularly good?
The potassium advantage of avocados is pretty significant. They are actually one of the richest food sources of potassium, containing more than bananas, believe it or not. Adequate potassium intake is vital because it helps your kidneys eliminate excess sodium, and it can actively support healthy uric acid excretion. Most adults need quite a bit daily, somewhere between 3,500 and 4,700 milligrams, and just one medium avocado gives you roughly 975 milligrams toward that goal. When you're selecting rice cakes, always try to choose brown rice cakes over the white rice versions. They offer better nutrient content and more fiber. And it's generally best to avoid the flavored varieties, as they often contain added sugars or artificial ingredients. Plain brown rice cakes have a nice, mild, nutty flavor that pairs really beautifully with the creamy richness of avocado.
Simple, effective, and delicious. Okay, last one. Number 10.
10. A glass of skim milk or coffee. Hydration with benefits. Okay, this might surprise some people. Both skim milk and coffee are very low to basically zero in purine content. Skim milk is excellent post-workout for recovery, while coffee, for many, is a great morning choice to kickstart the day. An optimal serving is about 8 ounces of skim milk, or maybe 8 to 12 ounces of coffee. Both of these options offer unique and, yes, surprising benefits for gout management. Skim milk provides high-quality protein, and fascinatingly, studies have shown it can actually lower uric acid levels over time. It's thought that certain proteins in milk may increase uric acid excretion, while the calcium supports overall metabolic health. Coffee, on the other hand, has been consistently associated with reduced gout risk in multiple large-scale studies. The possible mechanisms aren't fully understood, but might include its anti-inflammatory compounds, potential improvements in insulin sensitivity, and maybe caffeine's ability to help the kidneys process uric acid more efficiently.
Wow, so milk and coffee are actually good. That goes against some older advice too, doesn't it?
It does, particularly regarding dairy. There's an interesting sort of dairy paradox here. While high-fat dairy products can sometimes be inflammatory for some individuals, low-fat dairy, like skim milk, appears to have the opposite effect. It seems beneficial for gout. And regarding coffee, numerous large epidemiological studies have found a strong link between moderate coffee consumption, typically defined as 2 to 4 cups daily, and a lower risk of developing gout. The protective compounds in coffee likely include things like chlorogenic acids and other antioxidants that reduce inflammation and might improve kidney function. So your daily brew could be a surprising ally in gout management.
That's excellent news for coffee lovers. Who knew your morning coffee could be pulling double duty as a gout guardian? All right, now, let's turn theory into practice. Let's get into a recipe that truly proves a gout-friendly diet is anything but bland. You mentioned hummus earlier. This isn't just any hummus, right? It's a carefully crafted anti-inflammatory powerhouse designed specifically with gout management in mind.
Exactly. This creamy turmeric hummus is, I think, a real game changer. It's very low in purines, absolutely. And it's specifically designed to support your joint health and overall well-being. Every single ingredient serves a distinct purpose. The anti-inflammatory stars here are definitely the turmeric, garlic, lemon, and olive oil. It takes maybe 10 minutes to prep. And it makes about 2 cups, which is roughly 16 servings of 2 tablespoons each.
Okay, break down those key ingredients for us. What makes them so powerful?
Let's start with turmeric, the golden anti-inflammatory. This is the star. Turmeric contains curcumin, which is truly one of nature's most potent anti-inflammatory compounds. Research shows curcumin can inhibit multiple inflammatory pathways involved in gout, including that notorious NLRP3 inflammasome that's a molecular complex inside your cells, kind of like an alarm system that triggers severe inflammation and joint pain when activated. A big review, a meta-analysis of 29 randomized controlled trials, found that curcumin supplementation significantly reduced inflammation markers in arthritis patients, including those with gout. Now, here's the thing. Pure curcumin is actually poorly absorbed by the body on its own. But this recipe is smart about that. The tahini in the hummus contains healthy fats that enhance curcumin uptake. And if you choose to add just a pinch of black pepper, which contains piperine, it can increase the absorption by up to 2,000%. It's a huge difference.
Wow, that black pepper trick is amazing. Okay, what about the chickpeas?
Right, chickpeas. The perfect plant protein. As we discussed earlier, despite containing moderate purines, chickpeas are considered safe for most people with gout in reasonable portions. They provide complete protein, essential fiber, important minerals, and they also support stable blood sugar levels. The key, as always, is portion control, and this recipe provides appropriate serving sizes, those 2 tablespoons, to maximize benefits while keeping the purine load very low.
And garlic. We know it's good for us generally.
Yes, garlic, the immune modulator. Fresh garlic contains allicin and other sulfur compounds. These have been shown to modulate immune responses and reduce the production of inflammatory cytokines. Those are signaling molecules that basically tell your body to ramp up inflammation. Some studies even demonstrate that garlic can help shift the immune system away from what we call pro-inflammatory Th1 responses. Think of that as the body's attack mode towards more balanced Th2 responses, which promote healing and regulation. This shift helps reduce that overall inflammatory cascade that leads to gout flares.
That's a truly brilliant combination of ingredients, isn't it? Each one pulling its weight for joint health. Now, what if someone doesn't have a food processor? Can they still make this delicious hummus?
That's a great question. While a food processor definitely makes it incredibly smooth, you can absolutely make it without one. It just takes a little more elbow grease. You can finely mash the chickpeas with a fork or maybe a potato masher until they're pretty broken down. Then you'd vigorously whisk in the tahini, lemon juice, and the other ingredients until it's as smooth as you can possibly get it. It might have a slightly chunkier texture, more rustic, but all those beneficial properties, all the flavor, will absolutely still be there.
Good to know. Okay, let's get the exact ingredients list.
All right, for the creamy uric hummus, you'll need, for the base ingredients, 1 15-ounce can of chickpeas. Drain them, rinse them well, but importantly, reserve about a quarter cup of that liquid from the can. That's your secret weapon for creaminess. 1/4 cup of tahini, that's sesame seed paste. 1/4 cup of fresh lemon juice. That's usually 1, maybe 2 lemons. Fresh is really crucial here for the vitamin C and the bright flavor. 2 cloves of garlic, minced. 1 teaspoon of ground turmeric. 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. About 2 to 3 tablespoons of filtered water. You'll add this as needed for consistency. And half a teaspoon of sea salt, or you can adjust that to your taste.
Okay, and you mentioned optional extras.
Yes, for optional flavor enhancers, if you like. A pinch of freshly ground black pepper, remember, that dramatically boosts the curcumin absorption. Maybe a 1/4 teaspoon of ground cumin for a nice warm, earthy note. A 1/4 teaspoon of paprika adds lovely color and a mild sweetness. And perhaps a tablespoon of fresh parsley, minced, just adds a bit of freshness at the end.
And for garnish.
Yeah.
To make it look pretty.
Right, for garnish, just to make it look as good as it tastes. A little drizzle of extra virgin olive oil over the top. An extra pinch of turmeric for that golden color. Some chopped fresh parsley. And maybe a few whole chickpeas sprinkled on top for texture contrast.
Perfect. Now walk us through the steps and maybe why each step is important.
Okay, here we go. It's pretty straightforward. Step 1, prepare your ingredients. This takes about 2 minutes. Drain and rinse those chickpeas, remembering to save about 14 cups of that liquid. Squeeze your fresh lemon juice seriously. Fresh makes such a difference compared to bottled. Mince your garlic finely, or use a garlic press if you have one for even distribution. Just measure everything out and have it ready to go. It makes the whole process much smoother and, frankly, more enjoyable. Step 2, create the creamy base. This is about 2 minutes, but don't rush it. In your food processor, combine just the tahini and the fresh lemon juice. Now, process this mixture for 1 full minute. You'll see it get wonderfully whipped and creamy. This step is absolutely crucial. The acid in the lemon juice helps break down the tahini, creating that incredibly smooth, almost fluffy, restaurant-quality texture. Do not skip this step or cut it short. It really sets the foundation for amazing hummus. Step 3, add aromatics and spices. A quick 1-minute step. Add the olive oil, the minced garlic, the turmeric, the salt, and your optional black pepper to the food processor with the tahini lemon mixture. Process for about 30 seconds, then stop. Scrape down the sides of the bowl with a spatula to make sure everything gets incorporated. Then process for another 30 seconds until it's all well combined and fragrant. You'll start smelling those incredible aromas, developing a good sign. Step 4, incorporate the chickpeas. This takes about 3 minutes. Add half of the drained chickpeas to the food processor first and blend for about 1 minute. At this point, the mixture will likely be quite thick. Now add the remaining chickpeas and continue to process until everything is really smooth and creamy. This might take another 1 to 2 minutes. If the mixture seems too thick, and it probably will start adding that reserved chickpea liquid or filtered water, just 1 tablespoon at a time, blending between additions until you reach your desired creamy consistency. You want it spreadable, but still able to hold its shape a bit. Step 5. Taste and adjust. Another quick minute here. Stop the processor, grab a spoon, and taste your hummus. This is where you make it perfect for you. Adjust the seasoning as needed. Does it need more lemon juice for brightness or tang? More salt for overall flavor? More garlic if you like it punchy? More turmeric for extra anti-inflammatory power and color? And of course, add a touch more water or chickpea liquid if it's still too thick for your liking. Step 6. Final processing and serving. This is the last minute. Give it 1 final blend, maybe 30 seconds, just to ensure everything is perfectly smooth and incorporated. Transfer your beautiful hummus to a serving bowl. Use the back of a spoon to create a little shallow well in the center, that classic hummus look. Drizzle with a bit more olive oil, sprinkle with that extra pinch of turmeric, some fresh parsley, and maybe a few whole chickpeas for garnish. Serve it right away or pop it in the fridge.
Sounds fantastic. How long does it keep? And any meal prep tips?
Great questions. For storage, this hummus stores beautifully. In the refrigerator, keep it in an airtight container, and it'll be good for up to 5 days. Honestly, you might find the flavors actually get even better after 24 hours as the turmeric and garlic really meld together. It also freezes surprisingly well for up to 3 months. Just thaw it overnight in the refrigerator when you're ready to use it, and give it a really good stir before serving. You might need to add a tablespoon of water or lemon juice to help restore that creamy texture after thawing. As for a make-ahead strategy, I highly recommend preparing a double batch on a Sunday, maybe, then portion it out into small containers. Perfect for easy grab-and-go snacks throughout the week with some pre-cut vegetables alongside. It's a fantastic way to ensure you always have a healthy, delicious, gout-friendly option readily available.
That's super helpful. Do we know the nutritional info roughly per serving?
Yes, a typical 2 tablespoon serving of this creamy turmeric hummus provides approximately about 58 calories, around 2.3 grams of protein, about 1.8 grams of fiber, roughly 3.9 grams of healthy fats. Crucially, its purine content is very low, somewhere around 6 to 8 milligrams, so definitely not a concern. And importantly, it delivers about 15 to 20 milligrams of curcumin per serving, which, especially when combined with those absorption enhancers like the tahini and optional black pepper, is considered a potentially therapeutic dose.
Wow, packing a punch in just 2 tablespoons. How would you suggest serving it for maximum anti-inflammatory impact?
Pair it with colorful vegetables. That maximizes your antioxidant variety. Think things like red bell pepper strips, they're high in vitamin C, refreshing cucumber rounds for hydration, carrot sticks for beta-carotene, cherry tomatoes for lycopene, or even sugar snap peas for fiber and vitamin K. The more color, the better. But it's also incredibly versatile beyond just dipping veggies. This hummus works beautifully as a protein-rich sandwich spread, maybe replacing mayonnaise. Or you can thin it out with a little extra water or lemon juice, and it makes a creamy, really zesty salad dressing. It's also fantastic as a dip for whole grain pita bread or those brown rice crackers we talked about, or as a flavorful topping for big sweet potatoes. Or even as a base for delicious Mediterranean-inspired bowls with quinoa, greens, and other veggies. The possibilities are truly endless.
That sounds absolutely delicious and so versatile. It really does prove that eating for gout doesn't have to be restrictive or boring at all. Okay, this deep dive wouldn't be complete without looking ahead, right? Let's look at the cutting edge of gout management. What does the very latest research mean for you listening right now, and how is it shaping the future?
Yeah, there are some truly exciting developments happening that are really changing how we think about gout management. Let's touch on a few key areas. 1. Revolutionary biomarker discovery, predicting flares before they strike. The research here is, frankly, groundbreaking. A comprehensive study published just recently in Clinical and Experimental Rheumatology has identified a new metabolic biomarker. That's basically a measurable indicator of a biological state. This one's called indole lactic acid, or ILA. What's remarkable is that ILA appears in elevated levels in the blood of gout patients before any visible symptoms even develop. The study analyzed blood samples, serum samples from nearly 100 individuals, and found significantly higher ILA levels in people with gout compared to healthy controls. Even more exciting, preliminary data suggests these levels might start to rise days, maybe even weeks before a flare actually hits. This could potentially give patients and doctors crucial early warning time.
Wow. So like a gout flare forecast.
Exactly. What this means for you is potentially revolutionary. Imagine getting a simple blood test result that could tell you, hey, you're at an 80% risk for a flare in the next 2 weeks. This kind of predictive capability could fundamentally change how we manage gout. It allows for proactive, preventative interventions before that painful cascade even begins. The research team is actively working on developing a simple blood test, maybe eventually even something you could do at home or easily at your doctor's office. This discovery is part of a larger, really exciting trend toward personalized medicine in gout treatment. The Foundation for the National Institutes of Health has even launched a major new research project specifically to identify more biomarkers like this, ones that can predict flares and monitor how the disease is progressing. By moving beyond just measuring uric acid levels, researchers hope to create much more precise and individualized treatment approaches. Now, it's important to manage expectations. This technology is still in early development. Clinical trials are expected to begin maybe late 2025, with potential availability in, say, 2 to 3 years if everything goes well. But the potential is huge.
That is incredible. So if this biomarker test becomes available, what's the first thing you'd advise someone to do with that information? How would it change their daily approach?
Oh, it would empower so many proactive decisions. If you get that early warning, you could immediately double down on your hydration, maybe increase your cherry intake significantly for a few days, perhaps adjust your medication slightly, always under your doctor's guidance, of course, or be extra vigilant about avoiding particularly risky foods or alcohol for that period. It shifts the whole paradigm from reacting to flares to actively preventing them, and that is a massive leap forward for quality of life.
Absolutely. Okay, what else is new on the research front?
2. Metformin versus SGLT2 inhibitors. Surprising gout risk findings in diabetes patients. This is another really important area, especially since having both diabetes and gout is unfortunately very common. A new comprehensive study published in Rheumatology provides some crucial insights. The research compared over 21,500 diabetes patients. They tracked the incidence of gout in those taking metformin, which is a very common older diabetes medication, versus those using SGLT2 inhibitors. That's a newer class of diabetes drugs. Things like empagliflozin or dapagliflozin, which work by helping your kidneys excrete more glucose. The results were quite surprising, actually. Contrary to some previous, maybe smaller studies, this large study found that metformin and SGLT2 inhibitors showed comparable overall gout risk. However, and this is really interesting, there was a very important gender difference. Among women in the study, taking metformin was associated with a significant 69% lower risk of developing gout compared to taking SGLT2 inhibitors. That's a huge difference for women.
Wow, 69% lower risk for women on metformin, but not for men.
Exactly. For men, the risk was similar between the two drug classes, and here's where it really challenges some old assumptions. While the overall gout risk was comparable, the study also found that the SGLT2 inhibitors were actually more effective at lowering serum uric acid levels, the amount of uric acid in the blood. There was a mean difference of 0.48 milligrams per deciliter lower with the SGLT2s. This finding really challenges that simple assumption that lower uric acid automatically equals lower gout risk. It highlights that other mechanisms, perhaps related to inflammation or drug interactions, are clearly at play beyond just the uric acid numbers themselves. So what this means for you, if you happen to have both diabetes and gout, is really valuable guidance for discussions with your doctor. The findings suggest that women with diabetes might potentially benefit more from metformin specifically for gout prevention, while men seem to have a similar gout risk with either medication class. Of course, the choice between medications should always consider multiple factors: kidney function, heart health, side effects, not just isolated gout risk. This research also adds to a growing body of evidence suggesting that metformin itself has anti-inflammatory properties that go beyond its primary diabetes benefits. A separate study even found that metformin reduced gout risk by 32% in people with prediabetes, suggesting its protective effects might extend to earlier stages of metabolic dysfunction. Now, the study authors do emphasize that longer-term data is still needed to fully understand these complex relationships, especially since gout often develops over many, many years of elevated uric acid levels. But it's definitely food for thought and discussion with your healthcare provider.
That gender difference in the metformin study is truly fascinating. Why do you think that might be the case? Is there a hypothesis on what's driving that distinction between men and women?
Researchers are still actively exploring the precise mechanisms, but one leading theory relates to differences in how men and women metabolize certain drugs. Hormonal influences could also play a role, affecting insulin sensitivity and how the body handles uric acid. Also, metformin is known to have these broader metabolic effects, including on inflammation pathways, that might just differentially benefit women compared to men in this context. It really highlights the growing importance of personalized medicine, doesn't it? Where treatments need to be tailored not just to the condition, but to the individual's characteristics, including gender.
Absolutely. Okay, one more major research update.
3. EULAR 2025 Congress. Gout's hidden impact on heart health. Yes, findings presented at the recent 2025 European Alliance of Associations for Rheumatology, the EULAR Congress, have powerfully reinforced a critical connection, the link between effective gout management and cardiovascular health. A major longitudinal study, which tracked over 8,000 gout patients for 5 years, found that those individuals who successfully achieved and maintained target serum urate levels, that's keeping uric acid below 6 milligrams per deciliter, had a remarkable 23% lower risk of suffering major cardiovascular events, things like heart attacks and strokes. This is a really important dual benefit discovery. Treating gout effectively isn't just about preventing agonizing joint pain. It's literally about protecting your entire cardiovascular system. The researchers found a dose-response relationship, too. For every 1 milligram per deciliter reduction in serum urate levels, there was a corresponding 8% reduction in cardiovascular risk.
So lowering uric acid directly lowers heart attack and stroke risk.
That's what this large study strongly suggests. The mechanism here appears to be directly related to chronic inflammation. We know that elevated uric acid levels don't just form crystals in your joints, they also promote low-grade systemic inflammation throughout your entire body, including inside your blood vessels. When this underlying inflammation is reduced through proper uric acid management, getting those levels down, the entire cardiovascular system benefits significantly. What this means for you listening today is incredibly powerful motivation for staying committed to your uric acid lowering therapy, ULT, like allopurinol or febuxostat, even when you're feeling good and flare-free. The cardiovascular benefits mean that every single day you maintain those target uric acid levels. You're not just preventing future gout attacks, you are actively protecting your heart and your brain. These findings strongly support the treat-to-target approach that rheumatologists use. That target of less than 6 milligrams per deciliter, it isn't arbitrary. It represents a threshold where multiple profound health benefits, including cardiovascular protection, really begin to accrue. This research also helps explain something we've observed for a long time: why people with gout have historically had higher rates of cardiovascular disease. It wasn't necessarily the gout medications causing heart problems, as some feared. It was more likely the untreated chronic inflammation stemming from those elevated uric acid levels all along. So proper treatment actually reduces cardiovascular risk significantly.
That's such a powerful message. Stick with the treatment, protect your heart. Okay, any other quick emerging trends?
Just briefly, a few things to keep an eye on. Personalized medicine is rapidly advancing. We're seeing new genetic testing emerge that can identify individuals who metabolize certain gout medications differently, allowing for more targeted and effective therapy selection right from the start. Digital health integration is also a big one. Several research groups are developing smartphone apps that aim to predict flare risk based on integrating data like your dietary intake, maybe from food photos, local weather patterns, reported stress levels, and other factors. Early trials suggest these tools could potentially reduce flare frequency by maybe 30 to 40% when used consistently. Researchers are also exploring novel drug targets. There's a lot of focus on that NLRP3 inflammasome pathway we mentioned earlier. Understanding that is revealing new potential drug targets that could hopefully provide more effective flare prevention with fewer side effects down the line. Several pharmaceutical companies currently have new compounds targeting these pathways in early-stage trials. And finally, microbiome research. That connection between gut health and gout just keeps strengthening. We're seeing studies investigating whether specific probiotic strains might actually help improve uric acid metabolism. This research could eventually lead to targeted dietary interventions or even specific probiotic supplements designed for gout management in the future.
Wow, the future of gout management sounds really exciting and much more personalized. Okay, we've delved deep into the serious science and the practical solutions, but before we wrap up, let's lighten the mood just a bit. Let's sprinkle in some surprising tidbits and maybe a dash of humor that make managing gout feel a little more, well, manageable and maybe even fun.
Absolutely. Like those cherries we talked about, they aren't just nature's candy, they're kind of like gout's kryptonite. Studies show eating just 10-12 cherries might lower uric acid levels by up to 35% in some people. It's truly amazing how a delicious snack can pack such a medicinal punch.
And eggs. They are so low in purines, they're basically the Zen masters of the protein world, right? Calm, peaceful, won't cause any drama in your joints. With virtually 0 purines per serving, there's solid proof that sometimes the simplest foods really are the smartest choices.
Did you know that morning coffee might be pulling double duty as a gout guardian? Research shows moderate coffee consumption is linked to lower gout risk, possibly because caffeine helps your kidneys process uric acid more efficiently. So that 3 p.m. coffee, it isn't just keeping you awake, it might be helping keep your joints happy too.
And nuts. Just a handful of nuts, say about 23 almonds, provides more magnesium than most people get in an entire day. And that mineral, magnesium, is crucial for over 300 different enzymatic reactions in your body, including the ones involved in uric acid metabolism. Talk about small but mighty.
And why don't gout crystals like turmeric? Because they just can't handle the golden truth about inflammation. Seriously though, our turmeric hummus recipe is basically sunshine in a bowl, bright, warming, and guaranteed to brighten even the cloudiest gout day.
Here's some surprising science. Those low-fat dairy products like skim milk don't just avoid triggering gouts, they might actually help prevent it. The proteins in milk can potentially increase uric acid excretion, making that glass of milk work overtime for your joint health. A fantastic example of a food doing double duty.
And thinking about the future, Those smartphone apps being developed. The ones that might predict your gout flare risk based on your food photos, weather data, stress levels. Imagine your phone potentially knowing your flare risk better than you do, giving you a crucial head start. Technology is truly making even ancient diseases feel modern and more manageable.
And finally, a bit of weather wisdom. Gout flares do seem to be more common during sudden weather changes, particularly drops in barometric pressure. So if your joints start feeling a bit chatty or achy before a storm rolls in, they might actually be onto something. Consider your own built-in weather prediction system. Uncomfortable, perhaps, but maybe surprisingly accurate. So after all that, what does this all mean? I think the biggest takeaway from our deep dive today is that snacking, when you have gout, it really doesn't have to be a source of fear or deprivation at all. It can actually be empowering. It can be delicious. And it can be a vital, proactive part of your overall management strategy. We sincerely hope this deep dive into smart snacking has given you a fresh perspective, maybe some incredible new ideas for your kitchen, and definitely renewed hope for a flavorful, flare-free life ahead.
Yeah, and if we connect this to the bigger picture, really understanding the science behind it, embracing these diverse, delicious options that are available, and staying informed about the new research as it comes out that truly puts the power back in your hands. It's about living well, not just constantly trying to avoid flares. It's about taking control of your health with every informed, smart choice you make.
We really hope this deep dive into smart snacking has given you that fresh perspective and some fantastic new ideas to try in your own kitchen. Please be sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next deep dive. Join us again next week as we continue our journey together, exploring ways to make life with gout not just manageable, but truly enjoyable. With every smart bite, you're building a healthier, happier you.